Are you losing money in your business? Are you losing money in your processes and you're not sure? Well, in this video, I'm going to break it down and give you the tools so that way you can go check and see, am I actually losing money? Am I losing inefficiencies, and what is going on? I'm Emily and I'm here with Transformative Leadership, and I'm super excited to be giving a background on these tools and helping you learn these tools so that way you can implement them in your own business. In the manufacturing industry, I was in that industry for over a decade, and that industry really taught me lean manufacturing, lean processes, how to do process improvements, how to really make a difference from a process perspective. And it was really rewarding to watch not only changing the processes and saving millions of dollars, but also seeing how it changed employees' lives. Because when you change their process and they're on board with that change, it impacts them on a daily basis. It makes their job easier. And that was like really rewarding for me to see in a lot of ways, to be able to drive that impact, to drive that change. And when I managed a production line, I would have the front of the production line all the way to the end of the production line. So from the time the material came in to the time that it was built. And to be able to have that whole process, and on a daily basis, I would have KPIs that I would have to meet, right? I would have monthly, quarterly, yearly, and daily. And these KPIs were really based off of efficiencies and waste and other things. But the top two were always efficiency and waste. So those were the daily things that I looked at, and every single day, like, how could I improve this process? Because I was being measured by that. And then my team also had their KPIs that would tie into my KPIs. So KPIs really, and having a culture that understands that you are held to this KPI standard is great and can drive a lot. On the other side, if your employees are not on board, it can also not be so great. So there's a way to implement those KPIs. But when I had this production line, I seen that through this, because I was not always in the day-to-day operation doing the job itself, I could see things that the employees that are doing it day to day would not be able to see, because they've always done their process this way. So when we would make little changes, move something around, do some 5S, and really make it more like eco-friendly, better work environment for them, their productivity went up. And they were like, oh my goodness, like, I love this. And so there's a lot of different things, and it's really, I love the creativity around it, of thinking outside of the box. And so, whether you use brainstorming, whatever it is, really think outside of the box when you're looking at your processes. So how do you know if you're actually losing money? And I always say, like, you always have opportunities to increase efficiency and to save money, no matter what, all the time. Because someone out there is doing better and someone out there is doing worse. So depending on where you're at, you always have opportunity for growth. And that also goes into businesses and processes. No matter what, you can always figure out how to make it better. And this takes creative thinking, it takes tools. And some of these tools today I wanted to share with you. Number one being a process audit. A lot of times, and if you don't have a huge business or you're not working for a huge organization, you can still do this in your small businesses. And you can take all these tools that I'm going to share and actually take them and put them in your personal life too. I've done this. I've done this a lot in my personal life too. So with process audits, it's really looking at your process and seeing, is it running as efficiently as possible? So if you have people in the process, asking them their feedback, what could help this? What could make it easier? What are some of the tools that we need to look at? What do we need to look at as shifting and changing? And then through this process audit, also understanding, what are you saving by making these changes? What is the dollar amount? To be able to see that and tie that back, and also be like, wow, like, we've made that kind of changes, and to track that so that way you understand what changes are being made. So when it comes to doing a process audit, it's really looking at from start to finish of the process, from the time the thing comes in to the time it's ending, right? So in like a software perspective, that'd be like quote to cash process, right? Or a manufacturing example would be like from the start of the material coming in to the time the end product leaves the day, to the end customer. So when you have those and you go through your process and you understand what is working, what is not working, it's very easy to spot those things. And that is one of my strongest gifts, is to be able to look at a process and know, if you fix this, you're going to shift and change it. If we go ahead and make this change, we're actually going to get an ROI on that. and really to be able to look at that, to be able to visually see it, and then also to be able to look at the data and know what to fix. So as you're going through your process, just observe it and see what's going on. And then also ask the people in the process, like get them involved with it and listen to them. Just listen. You don't need to give your input on anything right now. You're just doing an audit just to listen on what you are finding, what's going on. And then you take all that data and then you do something with it, with the data, as just an audit. And a key for this, if you're in bigger companies, you don't need to let the team know that you're doing a process audit, because a lot of times they hear the word audit and they start hearing like, oh my goodness, they're going to do an audit on us, and they start to freak out. So a lot of times the process audit can be literally just go and see your process. And for small businesses, this is also a way for you to look like, what can be automated? What have I done? What is the bottleneck of my process? It's a huge one, is asking like, where is the bottleneck of my process? And when you see the bottleneck of your process, go there and look, like, what is the process? What's going on? And get very curious from a standpoint of, be curious, be open. The second tool is a gap analysis. This is one of my favorites. With gap analysis, it's really the simple version, without going into all this extra language. The simple version is really, where am I at now? Where do I need to be? What is the gap? Whatever that gap is, making the plan to close that gap. It's probably one of the tools that I use the most, and it's become just a way of life now. Where am I at? Where do I want to go be? Okay, cool. How do I close this gap? Now, there's a lot of different formats you can use. There's a lot of different things that you can use. Once you understand what the gap actually is, that is where you can build out the action plan. And to have an action plan to hold people accountable, accountability is huge in this, especially when it comes from a cost savings and really process improvements, because you can have all these tools, but if you don't have the accountability to change, nothing is going to change. That's just bottom line. You have to be able to hold them accountable, to be able to say, hey, this is your action. We're going to hold you accountable. Here's the date. Here's the guideline. What support do you need? And then do check-ins with them to make sure that everyone is staying on task. It's also a form of project management if you want to throw that in there. But gap analysis will really help you to see where you're at, where do you need to go, and then how do you close that gap? And there's tons of ways you can close that gap, and you may have to do my next tool, root cause analysis, to know how to close that gap, right? Because sometimes we need to do a deep dive to understand what really is that gap. And that's kind of where the root cause analysis comes. Funny story, I used to train and teach root cause analysis workshop when I worked in the automotive industry, and teaching people down to entry level of how to do root cause analysis, 5Y, 5W, 2H. And in that's really a data collection. And then through the root cause analysis, you get to the root of the problem. And to this day, I still always go back to why. So I'll keep asking why, until I feel like I'm to the root of it. That goes for my personal life, and it goes for my business. It goes with the clients I work, to really understand what is the root cause. And then when you get to the root cause, how are you going to fix that root cause? Have a plan, have an action. And then once it is fixed, come back and make sure you're checking it in 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days to make sure that root cause never comes back again. A lot of times that coming to check in after 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days gets missed, and then the root cause happens again, and then you're back in that loop again. So really making sure that you understand the root cause analysis. And then from there, also keeping it in like kind of a lessons learned folder, so when you have that issue pop up again, you can just go back to that and, okay, this is what we did in the past. Here's how we can look at maybe fixing it again if it pops back up. And if not, maybe you need to think outside of the box. Maybe you need to think bigger and something else to actually solve the root cause. So that has been a huge tool. I would say the biggest thing with these process, if you're trying to really implement process audits, gap analysis, root cause analysis, whatever it is to really help your team bring those cost savings to you, one of the biggest things is making this part of their KPIs. And maybe it's like, hey, I just want you to come up with one opportunity per quarter or per year of an opportunity to save money or to save efficiency or whatever that looks like in your company, in your business, and really giving them that responsibility, so that way they feel accountable to that as well. And it starts to build this culture of accountability, this culture of constantly looking for improvements. I also worked in a place where there was like a lot of incentives for you to do these cost savings analysis. And, there was like these different breakout sessions where you came in and you really you got a certain budget, or, you had to have a certain budget to fix, certain efficiencies. But if you could tell, what the ROI was, and really getting the team involved in that, and getting them excited and creating that culture from a process efficiency standpoint is going to help you. It's going to help you long-term, bottom line, and it's investing in that. And going back to also being the employee, you want to have some kind of incentive for doing it. Not just, oh, well, my raise is based upon this, but the impact that you're making, and, some kind of ownership, and really listening to the employees of what really incentives them to look at these opportunities. Like, how do you look at these opportunities, take accountability, take, charge for your own process. And that's huge when it comes to process efficiencies, especially in a lot of different industries where you as a leader don't have the time to manage everything. So teaching them how to do these tools, teaching them how to do process audits, and maybe it's just a trial run, have them trial run these things of here's the process, go ahead and do a process audit, tell me what you find, what needs to be fixed, and then get them to work into a gap analysis or root cause analysis. And all these tools are super easy to learn. They're not really hard. We do come in and we do help teams support, teach these tools to their teams if that's the support they needed, because we're very well versed in these tools. Both me and my business partner have 10 years plus each in the manufacturing industry. So, and we still use these tools with our clients. So if it's something that is supportive for you and you would like to have conversations, you can always book a call with us, and the call link will be dropped in the description. And if you have any other questions where you want me to break these tools down even more or in depth, let me know. We also have some PDFs that I'm happy to share with you if it's helpful for you and your team. So let me know which tool you are going to implement. And until next time, go save some money, save some efficiency, and be a great leader.